ای مرغ سحر چو این شب تار بگذاشت ز سر سیاه کاری و از نفحه روح بخش اسحار رفت از سر خفتگان خماری. بگشود گره ز زلف زرتار محبوبه نیلگون عماری. یزدان به کمال شد پدیدار وهریمن زشت خو حصاری. یادار ز شمع مرده یادار. ای مونس یوسف اندر این بند تعبیر عیان چو شد تو را خواب. دل پر ز شعف لب از شکرخند محسود عدو به کام اصحاب. رفتی بر یار و خویش و پیوند آزادتر از نسیم و مهتاب. زان کو همه شام با تو یک چند در آرزوی وصال احباب. اختر به سحر شمرده یادار. چون باغ شود دوباره خرم ای بلبل مستمند مسکین. و سنبل و سوری و سپرغم آفاق نگارخانه چین. گل سرخ و به رخ عرق ز شبنم تو داده ز کف زمام تمکین. زان نوگل پیش رس که در غم ناداده به نار شوق تسکین. از سردی دی سپرده یادار. ای همره تیه پور عمران بگذشت چو این سنین معدود. وان شاهد نغز بزم عرفان بنمود چو وعده خویش مشهود. وز مذبح زر چو شد به کیوان هر صبح شمیم عنبر و عود. زان کو به گناه قوم نادان در حسرت روی ارض موعود بر بادی جان سپرده یادار. چون گشت ز نو زمان آباد ای کودک دوره طلایی. وز طاعت بندگان خود شاد بگرفت ز سر خدا خدایی. نه رسم ارم نه اسم شداد گل بست زبان ژاژخایی. زان کس که ز نوک تیغ جلاد مأخوذ به جرم حق ستایی. تصمیم وصال خورده یادار.
خیلی زیاده و نوشتم ساز خاموش من جلوی کوچولوی صوفی. پیانوی علم، ستاره علم، دنبک علم.
این 4 سالی که گذشت جایی نرفتم که یاد فرید نباشم. همیشه کنار خودم حسش کردم. بعدم خواستم دوباره با هم بودنم رو تصویر کنم. تصویری که کنار هم بالای ابرها سبک‌رنگی یادم میاد.
اما بزرگترین یادگاری از پارسا برای ما سگش دینگوه، چون پارسا عاشق حیوانات بود و مخصوصا سگ حمایتیش دینگو.
وقتی که از تو خیابان رد میشم تابلوهای دندون پزشکی رو میبینم به یاد فرهادم هستم که امکان داشت یکی از تابلوها مادرم باشه.
از مسائل آرش خیلی چیزاش پیش منه. مسائل شخصیش، لباساش، ولی یه چیز خاصش تو شمه لباس زندگیش. با ارزش‌ترین چیزی که از آرش دارم خاطرات شیرینش، تکه کلاماش، نه تنها از آرش، از پونه هم خیلی خاطرات خوبی دارم.
چیزی که بیشتر من رو به یاد کیانا میندازه شب‌های بازی فوتبال تیم رئال مادریده که هیجان دیدن فوتبال تیم مورد علاقه‌اش رو چقدر تو خونم می‌کرد.
I am Azadeh Haidaripur, the mother of Amir Moradi, the passenger of seat number 4A on Flight PS752 that was shot down by the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. 4 unbearable years have passed from a crime that is unprecedented in the history of aviation. We were thrust onto a difficult path, and all we, the grieving families of the victim, could do has been to unite and fight to bring the criminals to justice. We gather today to remember and honor all loved ones who perished so tragically. We gather today to stand in solidarity with our fellow compatriots in Iran who courageously stand in the face of tyranny with one voice calling woman, life, freedom. I welcome you all who have gathered here today, and I thank you for standing with us over the past 4 years. We cherish your love and compassion as we continue on our journey for justice. به شما که امروز اینجا جمع شده اید خوش آمد میگویم و از همگی شما که در این 4 سال گذشته در کنار ما ایستاده اید تشکر میکنم. ما قدردان محبت و همراهی شما در راه رسیدن به عدالت هستیم.
Vladimir Haponenko, 50. Alevsky Naumkin, 42. Sergei Khomenko, 48. Katerina Stadnik, 27. Igor Matkov, 34. Maria Mikituk, 24. Denis Lichno, 24. Valeria Ufcharuk, 28. Yuliya Solohop, 25. Muhammad Abbas Purqadi, 33. Mujtaba Abbas Nejad, 26. Sayyid Mehran Abtahi Furushani, 37. Maryam Aghamiri, 46. Iman Aghabali, 28. Mutahhare Ahmadi, 8. Mohsen Ahmadi, 5. Sakine Ahmadi, 30. Ramtin Ahmadi, 9. Mitra Ahmadi, 46. مهسا امیرلیراوی 30 فرید آراسته 32 عرشیا ارباب بهرامی 19
اوین ارسلانی توینی 9 محمد حسین اسدی لاری توینی 3 زینب اسدی لاری توینی 1 امیر اشرفی حبیب آبادی توینی 8 محمود عطار 69 رجا آزادیان 41 غنیمت اژدری 36 مهربان بدیعی اردستانی 18 سمیرا بشیری 29 محمد امین بیروتی 29 نگار برقعی 30 شکوفه چوپان نژاد 56 دلارام داداش نژاد 26 مژگان دانشمند 43 علی اصگر دیرانی 74 حمید رضا جوادی اصل 52 کیان جوادی اصل 70 اردلان ابن الدین حمیدی 48 کامیار ابن الدین حمیدی 15 نیلوفر ابراهیم 34 بهناز ابراهیمی خویی 45 شارخ اقبالی بازفت 59 شهزاد اقبالی بازفت 8
Please rise if you're able to and join me in holding a moment of silence in honor of all innocent people who have lost their lives in the last 45 years since the beginning of the Islamic regime in Iran. Thank you. Please take your seats. My name is Pegah Solari, and I am here as a volunteer for the Association of Families of Victims of Flight PS752. As your host today, I welcome and thank you all, families of victims, dignitaries, friends, volunteers, and members of the media for being here today. On this 4th anniversary of the heart-wrenching downing of Flight PS752 in the murderous hands of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, we dedicate today's ceremony to the memory of the victims of this heinous crime. Mara Yadar. I'd like to officially start today's program by acknowledging that we are gathering on lands that have been home to First Nations peoples from time immemorial. We acknowledge that what we now call Richmond Hill is on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations of the Williams Treaty. We also recognize that we are on part of the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and the Huron-Wendat. We would also like to acknowledge all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis peoples from across North America, also known as Turtle Island, who now reside in the city of Richmond Hill. With us today, there are several dignitaries. The Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Chrystia Freeland. Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Mélanie Joly. Canada's Minister of Transport, the Honourable Pablo Rodriguez. Canada's Minister of Justice, the Honourable Arif Virani. Canada's Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth, the Honourable Marcy Ian. Canada's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, the Honourable Ralph Goodale. Deputy Leader of His Majesty's Official Opposition and the Conservative Party of Canada, Ms. Melissa Lantsman. Her Excellency Yuliya Kovaliv, Ukraine's Ambassador to Canada. Ali Ehsasi, MP for Willowdale. The Honourable Rob Oliphant, MP for Don Valley West and Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Terry Duguid, MP for Winnipeg South. Leah Taylor Roy, MP Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill. Francesco Sorbara, MP Vaughan Woodbridge. Tony Van Bynen, MP Newmarket Aurora. Paul Chang, MP Markham Unionville. Head of the PS752 Task Force at Global Affairs Canada, Sohrab Farid. From the province of Ontario, the Honourable Michael Parsa, Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. The Honourable Reza Mouridi, former Minister of Ontario Government. From the City of Richmond Hill, His Worship Mayor David Vest and many esteemed members of City Council. On behalf of the Association of Families of Victims of Flight PS752, I thank you all for being here today. The downing of Flight PS752 represents yet another link in the chain of crimes that have victimized the Iranian people. 176 innocent lives were lost on the cold morning of January 8, 2020. In an unprecedented example of state crimes and aviation history, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards shot down Ukrainian Flight PS752 only 3 minutes after takeoff from the Tehran International Airport. Thus began a painful journey for the victims' surviving family members who deserve justice through a transparent, impartial trial. Within hours of the downing of Flight PS752, the Iranian government set in motion a machinery of deceit, lies, and distortions. Their domestic propaganda machine and foreign apologists and operatives were mobilized to whitewash the crime. After 3 days of denial, and only under international pressure, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards of Iran finally admitted to the downing of the passenger airplane, but they refused to comply with international law and regulations and insisted on human error as the cause of the downing without any transparency or cooperation to produce evidence. The world faced an absurd situation where the very perpetrators of crime were given the responsibility to investigate their own crime and produce a report on how their own military apparatus shot and downed a civilian airman. Within months of the downing, the families took it upon themselves to form an association, and with the help of hundreds of volunteers and tens of thousands of supporters and donors from around the world, they embarked on the long and arduous road to justice, a road without a roadmap. When the Iranian government published its final report that was no more than an attempt to whitewash their crime and shield the implicated high-ranking military and political officials, Dr. Agnes Callamard, the UN Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial, summary, or arbitrary executions, put the spotlight on the tragedy.
The reckless nature of the mistakes have led many, including myself, to question whether the downing of Flight PS752 was intentional.
Mr. Ralph Goodell, Canada's Special Advisor to the Prime Minister, published his responding report that highlighted numerous unanswered questions and emphasized the shortcomings and inadequacies of Iran's final report. Mr. Goodell remarked that Iran's final report was shambolic. The association held a press conference on November 24, 2021 to unveil their 24-page fact-finding report. The report was the result of selfless collaboration between the association's fact-finding committee and military, aviation, legal, investigative, and forensic experts who donated their time and expertise to the association. The association continued its insistence on the need for a proper investigation by an independent international body to address these shortcomings and reveal the truth. On September 14, 2022, the association filed its submission to the International Criminal Court on the basis of allegations of war crimes and crimes against humanity after months of investigations and consultations with expert groups. The submission provided more than 90 pages of evidence and analysis against those who had a role in the downing of Flight PS752. To date, none of those affected countries have submitted a letter of support for this submission, and the court has yet to review and respond to the submission. In mid-September, after the brutal killing of Mahsa Amini by the infamous morality police in Tehran, a revolution erupted in Iran under the banner of women, life, freedom. By the 1st of October 2022, tens of thousands of people gathered in cities across Canada and the world to stand in solidarity with their courageous compatriots inside Iran in rejection of the Islamic Republic regime. By October 22nd, over 100,000 demonstrators assembled in Berlin. The Iranian diaspora around the world united and compelled the global community to stand with the women and youth in Iran who are on the front lines of resistance despite the brutality facing them. Finally, on December 28th of 2022, there was a breakthrough. The 4 affected countries, led by Canada, issued a diplomatic note to the Islamic Republic state, putting them on notice to commence proceedings according to the Montreal Convention, holding them criminally responsible for the intentional downing of Flight PS752. Let us remember Muhammad Mehdi Karami and Muhammad Hosseini on the 1st anniversary of their execution by the Islamic regime of Iran. Let us also remember the 2nd anniversary of passing of Baktash Abtin, Iranian poet and documentary filmmaker, while unjustly kept imprisoned because of his political activism. As we come together today, many other innocent protesters are suffering sham trials, and at least 6 people under threat of execution. We stand by Ekbatan youth and Mujahid Kourosh. I now invite Ms. Navaz Ebrahim, the President of the Association of Families of Victims of Flight PS752, to the podium.
مرا یادار. بعد از ویدیو فعالیت‌های 3 سال اول، امسال بنا دارم به عنوان پرزیدنت انجمن خانواده‌ها بر فعالیت‌های 1 سال اخیر و اتفاقات رخ داده در روند پرونده صحبت کنم. ما در سال گذشته سالگرد 3 را در حالی گذراندیم که هشداری به جمهوری اسلامی فرستاده شده بود تا ظرف 6 ماه در چارچوب دیوان بین المللی دادگستری در لاهه به سیستم حل اختلاف رجوع کند. اتفاقی که رخ نداد و در نهایت این شکایت در 3 جولای 2023 در دیوان بین المللی دادگستری در لاهه ثبت شد. در 16 اکتبر دیوان بین المللی دادگستری به 4 کشور متضرر 1 سال فرصت داد تا متن مموریال یا شکایتنامه خود را ثبت کنند و جمهوری اسلامی هم پس از ثبت مدارک 4 کشور 1 سال فرصت دارد به این شکایت پاسخ بدهد. امروز هم شاهد بودیم که شکایت دیگری این بار در سازمان جهانی هوانوردی غیر نظامی یعنی ICAO ثبت شده است. پس با در نظر گرفتن شکایت مستقل خانواده‌ها در دیوان بین المللی کیفری که متاسفانه هنوز از سوی 4 کشور حمایت نشده است، در هر 3 نهاد عالی رتبه قضایی دنیا در این باره شکایت ثبت شده است. شکایت در دیوان بین المللی دادگستری در لاهه و در ICAO برای انجمن خانواده‌ها در یافتن حقیقت و اجرای عدالت اهمیت بسیاری دارد و ما تا امروز نهایت همکاری را با دولت‌ها انجام داده ایم و در آینده هم انجام خواهیم داد، ولی خواسته های ما فراتر از این هاست. ابتدا به شکایت در دیوان بین المللی کیفری برگردیم. وقتی هنوز تکلیف پرونده جنایی در اوکراین نامشخص است و پلیس فدرال کانادا پس از 4 سال پاسخ مشخصی به پیوستن به این پرونده جنایی نداده است، میتوان گفت تاکنون پرونده کیفری مفتوحی که از سوی نهادهای بیطرف اداره شود در مورد سرنگون کردن پرواز وجود ندارد. حکم شرم‌آور دادگاه نظامی تهران که عملاً 1 نفر دونپایه با هویت نامعلوم را به 13 سال زندان محکوم کرد، حاصل پرونده‌ای بود که خود قاتلین و فرماندهان سپاه پاسداران تهیه کرده بودند و بر اساس آنچه امروز می‌دانیم هیچ کس در حال حاضر در زندان نیست و همه متهمین آزاد هستند. ما معتقدیم این جنایت در دسته جنایات جنگی و جنایت علیه بشریت قرار می‌گیرد و انتظار داریم از شکایت ما در دیوان کیفری حمایت شود. به اتفاقاتی نگاه کنیم که پس از ثبت شکایت در لاهه برای خانواده‌ها رخ داده است. متاسفانه تعداد زیادی از پدران، مادران و حتی یکی از فرزندان جانباختگان به علت فشارهای روحی حاصل از این فاجعه از دنیا رفته‌اند و آنها که باقی مانده اند هر روز تحت تهدیدات و فشارهای جمهوری اسلامی زندگی می‌کنند. به مزار جانباختگان تعرض می‌شود. اقوام نزدیک مانند خانم شایان آزادیان، خواهر رجا، به دادگاه فراخوانده می‌شوند یا حکم بازداشت دریافت می‌کنند. مادری بر مزار فرزندش مورد ضرب و شتم قرار می‌گیرد که هنوز تحت مداواست. خانم منظر زرابی که 4 عزیزش را در پرواز از دست داده است، به اتفاق نسرین ستوده و 10 مرد و زن دیگر در مراسم تشییع دختری جوان به نام آرمیتا گراوند بازداشت می شود، بر زمین کشیده می شود، ناسزا می شنود، کتک می خورد، از دریافت داروهایش محروم می ماند و ساعتها در ون زندان اوین حبس می ماند. خانم توران شمس‌اللهی و آقای احمد اسماعیلیون که عروس و نوه خود را از دست داده اند، از سفر به کانادا برای شرکت در همین مراسم محروم می‌مانند و پاسپورت آنها ضبط می‌شود. امروز هم خانواده‌ها در شرایطی غیر عادی و تحت فشار امنیتی شدید سالگرد 4 را در شاهد شهر محل زمین خوردن هواپیما گرامی می‌دارند. آیا همه اینها باعث نمی شود برای حفظ جان و امنیت خانواده ها 4 کشور متضرر از دادگاه لاهه تقاضای رسیدگی ویژه کنند؟ آیا دیدن این جنایات و فجایع متعدد دیگر که به دست سپاه پاسداران انقلاب اسلامی انجام شده است، هنوز دولت‌های دموکراتیک همچون دولت کانادا را متقاعد نکرده است که این سازمان را در لیست سازمان‌های تروریستی بگذارد؟ آغاز اخراج عوامل جمهوری اسلامی از کانادا عملی شایسته و قابل تقدیر است، اما پایان دادن به پولشویی و اعمال نفوذ سپاه در این کشور به عنوان تهدیدی جدی بسیار مهم است. ما همچنان می‌خواهیم کلیت سپاه پاسداران در لیست گروه‌های تروریستی قرار بگیرد. ما از ارجاع پرونده به دیوان بین المللی دادگستری و سازمان ایکائو ممنونیم و می‌دانیم بهترین وکلا همانطوری که وزیر محترم امور خارجه خانم ملانی جولی در سال گذشته در همین مراسم قول داده بودند در این پرونده استخدام شده اند، اما انتظار داریم سایر خواسته های ما و جامعه ایرانیان کانادا هم در نظر گرفته شود. 1. حمایت از پرونده در دیوان بین المللی کیفری و پرونده کیفری در اوکراین. 2. تقاضای دادگاه ویژه در دیوان بین المللی دادگستری. 3. قرار دادن سپاه پاسداران در لیست گروه‌های تروریستی. 4. اخراج باقی عوامل جمهوری اسلامی در کانادا و خانواده‌های آنها. 4 سال گذشته است و ما از خاطر نبرده ایم. ما به یاد می‌آوریم و به دادخواهی عزیزانمان متعهدیم. ما نمی‌خواهیم دیگر جنایتی هولناک چون سرنگون کردن پرواز عزیزانمان رخ بدهد. ما می‌خواهیم فرزندان ایران در کشوری آزاد و دموکراتیک زندگی کنند. ما به یاد می‌آوریم و دادخواه تمام کسانی هستیم که در 44 سال ظلم و بی‌عدالتی جان شیرین خود را از دست داده اند. تا آن روز ما نه فراموش می‌کنیم و نه می‌بخشیم. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I now cordially invite to the stage the first of our distinguished guests this afternoon. On behalf of the Government of Canada, please welcome the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada.
Good afternoon. Bonjour. Salam. Thank you for that introduction and those strong words. I'm honored to be here with you today. Je suis ici aujourd'hui pour qu'on se souvienne de ceux qui sont décédés pour honorer leur mémoire. Je suis ici avec plusieurs collègues, dont la vice-première ministre Freeland, les ministres Joly, Rodriguez, Ian, Ivirani, et les députés Essasi, Sorbara, Oliphant, Chiang, Van Bynen, Taylor Roy et Dogood. Je suis content de voir des députés du Parti conservateur parce que nous sommes tous unis d'être ici en tant que Canadiens pour pleurer cette perte. My former colleague and friend Ralph Goodale is here too. Ralph, I know you're hard at work at serving as Canada's High Commissioner to the UK, but your continued dedication to justice for the victims of PS752 is truly something deeply appreciated and important for all Canadians. Mayor West, David, thank you for having us here in Richmond Hill. And I'm also glad to note that Ukraine's ambassador to Canada, Yuliya Kovaliv, has joined us once again. Thank you, Yuliya. We are gathered here in Richmond Hill to remember 176 souls lost on January 8th, 2020, when Iran unlawfully shot down a passenger plane. On board were 138 passengers bound for Canada. They were Canadians, residents, and people with ties to our country. They were people you loved, people you have missed every day since. Earlier today, I spoke with family members of the victims, and I heard from some of those who are leading efforts. Kourosh, Hamid, Navaz, thank you for your dedication, for your work to hold the Iranian regime accountable and to keep the memories of your loved ones alive. It's been 4 very difficult years since you lost them. It's not been an easy time on any level, with the pandemic, an illegal war in Ukraine, violence and unrest in the Middle East, and an Islamic Republic regime that continues to disregard human rights in Iran and continues to destabilize global peace and security through its support for Hamas, Hezbollah, and other proxies around the world. Those of you here today know all too well the human costs and the profound suffering that is endured when violence and unrest take innocent lives. Vous avez perdu des proches à cause de la violence du régime iranien. En plus, le régime refuse depuis 4 ans d'assumer la responsabilité pour ses actions. Iran, the Iranian regime, must be held accountable. We've worked with partners. We have worked with partners for years to have the Iranian regime accept responsibility for its actions, which is why today we have taken further historic action with our partners from Sweden, the UK, and Ukraine to take this matter to the International Civil Aviation Organization. This is in addition to our continued pursuit of justice at the International Court of Justice, which we initiated last summer. Notre objectif est de faire en sorte que des tragédies comme celle-là ne se reproduisent jamais. Chaque vie humaine doit être respectée, et l'ensemble des droits de la personne aussi. Malheureusement, quand on voit le bilan du régime de la République islamique, on voit bien qu'il ne respecte pas ces valeurs fondamentales. Et le meurtre des passagers du vol PS752 est juste un autre exemple parmi tant. Je sais que beaucoup d'entre vous ont des racines iraniennes et des liens avec l'Iran, avec la famille, des amis et des proches qui sont là-bas. Je sais que la situation est particulièrement difficile pour eux. Les civils iraniens font preuve d'un courage immense pour réclamer la liberté. There were 176 victims of Flight PS752, but there are thousands upon thousands of others who have lost their lives at the hands of that regime. Our government condemns the Islamic Republic's regime's continued disregard for the rule of law, its sham trials, its oppression of peaceful protests, especially its brutal reaction to the protests in support of the rights of women and girls in the wake of the killing of Mahsa Amini. Canada will always stand with you in your call, Zan, Zendegi, Azadi. We have put in place severe sanctions on almost 450 Iranian individuals and entities. And we have listed the Islamic Republic regime, including top officials who are responsible and have enabled these brutalities under the most powerful provisions of IRPA. This has meant that tens of thousands of members of the Islamic Republic regime are banned from coming to Canada, banned from coming to the place where so many of you and your families have sought peace and safety. In just the past year, these measures have meant federal officials have opened 141 investigations and begun proceedings against 10 individuals. And we have also successfully barred dozens of implicated individuals from entering Canada. But we know there is more to do to hold the regime to account, and we will continue our work, including continuing to look for ways to responsibly list the IRGC as a terrorist organization and explore any and all other options. One of the things that distinguishes Canada from that regime is we are a country of laws and principles, and need to make sure we continue to follow those laws and principles, because that is the way we hold that regime to account. But while we do this, we are also doing everything necessary to keep people here in Canada safe in your communities, here in your country, and we need to do more. We hear you, and we will work with you. But nothing will ever bring your loved ones back. Each holiday season, each Nowruz, each birthday without them is unbearably sad. So many of the people on board were young people, some just children. As each year passes, you remember the future that you dreamt for them. Grief draws us into the past, but life asks us to continue looking forward. The Flight PS752 commemorative scholarship program is about honoring the futures that we envisioned for the victims, with 176 scholarships named after each person lost. Their memories are helping build the future, a better future. Canadians will never forget the tragedy of when the plane went down. Your loved ones were killed almost 10,000 kilometers from here, 1,461 days ago, but it feels like they were all just here. Many of you just celebrated Yalla. At the darkest time of year, you gathered. When it's darkest, we always need to remember that light will return. Light will triumph over darkness. As I always try to do, I took a moment to meet with the incredibly brave mothers who are gathered here today. It is personal to me to be able to see you, to speak with you, and to thank you. I saw firsthand the strength and resilience of mothers in watching my own mom deal with the loss of my youngest brother. And even having watched it up close, I can tell you the one thing I do know is I can't imagine the pain that you are feeling. But I do know how unbelievably strong you are. and committed not just to upholding and honoring the memory of your beautiful children, but committed to ensuring that the world never forgets them and that good comes from unimaginable loss. And in this case, good means holding to account the murderous regime responsible for those deaths and so many others. Aujourd'hui, on honore la mémoire de ceux qui ont perdu la vie et on est solidaire des citoyens iraniens qui subissent une oppression constante. Notre gouvernement va continuer à défendre les droits de la personne et à tout mettre en œuvre pour que la justice soit rendue aux 176 personnes décédées lors de l'écrasement de l'avion et aux milliers d'autres qui ont perdu la vie aux mains du régime. Our work together will make sure that they are never forgotten and that tragedies like this never happen again. I want to thank not just the mothers, but all family members and all members of this community who have stood up, who stand strongly every day to continue to demand of us, of Canadians, of people around the world, that we see the Iranian regime who they really are, and we hold them to account, because together we will. Thank you very much. I'm now welcoming Minister Joly to the stage.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Ever since taking office, this next speaker has been a great supporter and a champion of our cause, an ally to the families of victims of Flight PS752. I am thanking you here on behalf of the association for joining us on the stage. Thank you, and thank you, of course, for inviting me again this year to be part of this solemn day. Merci de m'avoir invité. Ça me fait plaisir d'être ici, malgré les circonstances très difficiles. Of course, I would like to start by offering my sincere condolences to all of you, members, family members of the victims. Mes sincères condoléances à vous tous. We have now worked together for nearly more than 2 years. I've been appointed more than 2 years as foreign minister, and through time, we got to know each other. We had the chance to work together and share your pain, your grief, and of course your anger. And you taught me a lot. We all learned more through your different stories. From Ahmed telling me about his beloved wife and daughter, his mother as well. From Kourosh talking to me about his beloved fiancée while walking on the banks of the Red River in Winnipeg. Sarah this morning talking to us about her partner, and Mirzad, who talked about his wonderful son, and also making sure that there's a beautiful poster of him just behind him every time he would speak to us. And I know that 4 years ago, your lives were changed, and Canada was forever changed. I share your grief, and Canadians from Halifax to Vancouver share your grief. And the absence of your loved ones have created such a void that reminds us of preciousness of life. And yet your courage and your resilience inspire us all. 1 year ago today, we stood, the Prime Minister, many colleagues, we were in Toronto. We went after to the Melissa Lantsman Square. And I told you that 2023 would be a year of action. Together we can look back on what we've achieved over the past 12 months. With our partners, with the UK, with Sweden and Ukraine, we have taken steps to seek justice and to hold Iran accountable for its horrific actions before the international community. Because let me be clear, the world must know what happened on January 8, 2020. That is why our pursuit of justice has been resolute and diligent. I told you a year ago we would hire the best lawyers on earth to make sure that we would win these cases. That's what we've done. I know that Palana Kavan is here. And in July, we filed a historic case against Iran before the International Court of Justice. It was an important moment. 4 countries, Canada, UK, Ukraine, and Sweden, before this esteemed court, letting the world know that Iran would not be able to sweep the PS752 Downing tragedy under the rug. And today we reached another milestone, a very important one. As you may have heard, we announced this morning the filing against Iran before the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal. So we now have 2 cases in 2 jurisdictions under 2 laws against Iran. Iran must take full responsibility for the downing, including full reparation. And Iran owes this to Canada. Iran owes this to the world. Most importantly, Iran owes this to you. And Iran owes this to the memory of all of those who were lost that day. And we're not naive. The path to justice is long, it is difficult, and as they say, the wheels of justice are slow, but they grind very finely. Every step taken has been important to pursue accountability from Iran, and we will not allow Iran evade justice. The Prime Minister alluded to it. Earlier this year, also in the memory of those who lost their lives on January 8, 2020, we launched an important scholarship program, like the Prime Minister mentioned, thinking about the future. And over 5 years, Canada will provide 176 scholarships, 1 in memory of each of the persons that were lost that day. Each scholarship is worth $25,000. It is for Canadians and international students to come to study in Canadian colleges and Canadian universities. And I'm pleased to announce today that the first 32 recipients have been selected, including 6 candidates that have linked to the families of the PS752 victims. So we stand here today determined to honor the memories of those who were lost. The Iranian regime continues
continues to show complete disregard for human life, for human rights, and the dignity of Iranian people. It is a regime that is destabilizing the region and undermining prospect of peace. And I must say thank you. Thank you in the leading role, the leadership role you've been playing to make sure that the world would see what is happening in Iran. And I wanted to highlight also the work of particularly Ahmed Ismailian, for all your work, Ahmed, in making sure that the world would know. We promise that we have not forgotten the brave people of Iran fighting for their freedom or the Women Life Freedom Movement. And we have not forgotten Mahsa Amini. Women, life, freedom. Femme, vie, liberté. Zan, zindagi, azadi. In closing, I would like to thank the Family Association. Kourosh, Navaz, we took a good look at what you were asking, and we will work on every single item on that list. I said to you last year, 2023 would be a year of action. 2024 will be a year of solidarity, of unity. We won't let the Iranian regime divide us, and we will put maximum pressure on it. I would like to thank you for your courage. I know that many of you have gone through lots of examples of intimidation, or families of yours or loved ones in Iran have gone through intimidation. We will never accept it. We will make sure that the Iranian regime bear consequences for it, and we will be steadfast in our support. So you can count on us, on me, as your ally, as your champion, working, of course, with the government to hold Iran accountable and seek justice. Merci.
Thank you, Minister. Over the last 4 years, a community of volunteers and supporters have come together, a community united around two main purposes: remembering the victims and pursuing justice in their name. These volunteers have warmed the hearts of family members and expressed their sadness, anger, and sorrow in many forms by attending rallies, donating their time, financial support, and creating art. The Association of Families of Victims of Flight PS752 is grateful to each and every one of you. A member of this community, Rana Mansour, Iranian-American musician and songwriter, is with us today. I invite Rana on the stage for her first performance.
Hello, very nice to see everyone again. Prime Minister Trudeau, thank you very much for all of your support throughout the years. Nice to see you. I don't know where you are, but I'm assuming like last time. There you are. Navaz Ebrahim, thank you for having me, and برای خانواده‌های پرواز 752. I hope that my voice can provide just a little bit of relief for you today. Thank you for having me. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion to know. Imagine all
احساس کنم بچه‌مو بغل کردم.
کاردستی‌های صوفی عزیزم دست خطش که زن کشیده بود خواب کرده بود و به دیوار خونه زده بود.
لباس عروسی دختر نازنین همه امروز 3 روز سالگرد ازدواجشون می‌گذره. لباس هست ولی خود نازنینش نیست. طول عروس میشه و لباس می‌تنه که روی لباس عروسیش پوشیده بود. کفش عقل عروسیش اینجا هست. یک جو کفش سعید جلوگی و نگاهی نگه داشتن.
وسایلی که ازش مدن، کمد لباس، کرواتاش، ساعتاش و غیر از اینا، اون چیزی که فکر می‌کنم مهم‌تر ازش مونده مهربونی، معرفت و انصاف بشه.
از امیر برای من 21 سال خاطره عشق، محبت، شادمانی به جای ماند.
پریسا اقبالیان 42 محمد مهدی الیاسی 28 سید مهدی امامی 60 صوفی امامی 5 مهدی اسحاقیان دورچه 24 ریرا اسماعیلیون 9 منصور اثناعشری اصفهانی 29 شریعه فقیهی 58 فائزه فلسفی 46 فراز فلسفی 31 آیدا فرزانه 33 شکیبا فقاهتی 39 مرزیه فروتن 37 دانیال قنچی 8 دورسا قنچی 16 سیاوش غفوری آذر 35 ایمان قادرپناه 34 پریناز قادرپناه 32 امیر حسین قاسمی 32 میلاد قاسمی آریانی 32 فاطمه قاسمی دستجردی 25 کیانا قاسمی 19
مهدی قوی 20. معصومه قوی 30. فریده غلامی 38. امیر حسین قربانی بهابادی 21. سوزان گلباباپور 39. پونه گرجی 25. سهرناز حقجو 37. بهاره حاج اسفندیاری 41. صدف حاج آقاون 27. مهدیه حاج قاسمی 38. سارا حمزه‌ای 33. زهرا حسنی سعدی 25. شهرزاد هاشمی 45. پارسا حسن نژاد 16. سهند حاتفی مستقیم 32. حدیث حیات داوودی 27. السا جدیدی 8. پدرام جدیدی 28. شادی جمشیدی 31. علی جواهری پی 47. محمد امین جبلی 29. محمد رضا کدخدازاده 40.
Ever since assigned as a special advisor to the Prime Minister following the downing of Flight PS752, he has acted with utmost diligence and care, not only in the legal and investigative parts of this assignment, but also in dealing with the families and their association. His humane and ethical approach has offered solace and encouragement to the victims' families. We are honored by the presence of His Excellency, the Honourable Ralph Goodale, High Commissioner for Canada to the United Kingdom, and I now invite him to the stage to say a few words.
Thank you very kindly for a very generous introduction. Dear families, Prime Minister, ministers, members of Parliament, Your Excellency, Your Worship, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Name by name and photograph by photograph, the enormity of what brings us to this room together today is, I think, settling as a heavy weight on all of us. I want to thank the PS752 Family Association for the generous invitation to attend what is a very sad but an exceedingly important event. It is an enormous privilege to share with all of you in honoring the memory of those precious loved ones, 176 innocent souls whose lives were so cruelly taken exactly 4 years ago this morning. Everyone here today is united in the keenest sense of loss. The passage of time, 4 years, has not in any way diminished the hurt or the grief. We yearn for the affection we can no longer give to or receive from those who died on PS752. And we mourn the massive human potential so suddenly destroyed that those beloved women and men and children represented. As an advisor to the Government of Canada through this painful tragedy, I've had numerous opportunities to hear from victims' families. They must be, and they are, at the center of the entire response to this awful situation. The families have been passionate and persistent and determined and dignified in keeping the best memories of their loved ones alive and in driving relentlessly for the transparency, the accountability, and the justice that they are rightly owed under international law. I want to commend the families for the manner in which you have challenged, you have channeled your anguish into meaningful ways to remember all those innocent victims, to commemorate their humanity, and to achieve justice. Last year, in what was the shortest time for any case of this kind in living memory, Canada, Ukraine, Sweden, and the United Kingdom brought the Islamic Republic regime in Tehran before the International Court of Justice for violating the 1971 Montreal Convention on Civil Aviation. The regime's malevolent behavior in respect of PS752 will thus be exposed and adjudicated before the whole world. And today, as promised, the Government of Canada went further. Canada, Ukraine, Sweden, and the United Kingdom have launched additional proceedings against the regime in Tehran before ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, for also violating the 1944 Chicago Convention on Civil Aviation. Here again, we will be asking the global community to hold that regime fully accountable for brutally killing 167 passengers and 9 crew members on board PS752. Nothing, of course, can restore the lives that were lost or truly heal the heartbreak of the families. But we can and we will demand the full truth from the regime, a full accounting without the denials, without the flip-flops, without the obfuscation, the omissions, and the deceit, the full truth. We can and we will demand the regime's unequivocal acceptance of full legal responsibility and their apology to the families, the victim countries, and the civil aviation community around the entire world. We can and we will demand remedial action to prevent an awful repetition of their reprehensible conduct. And we will demand reparations, restitution, and compensation for the losses the families have endured. These are among the measures that I had the honor to recommend in my report, published on PS752 in December of 2020. I am glad that they are being pursued, and pursued vigorously, in at least 2 complementary international legal proceedings with the whole world watching. No one pretends that success will be quick or easy, but it will be pursued and fought for with clear-eyed, undistracted focus and with every ounce of conviction that Canada and our allies can muster. I do want to thank that remarkable international legal team for their expertise, their doggedness, their hard work, and their innovation. They are being advised by 4 international experts who have among them more than 100 years of experience in the field of international law and aviation law in particular, including our own Paya Makavan. I want to thank Canada's partners in the UK, Ukraine, and Sweden for all their faithful collaboration and solidarity. I want to thank the PS752 task force within the Government of Canada for their meticulous and often unsung work on the legal cases, but also on the communications, the commemorations, the scholarships, the immigration measures, the support systems, and the continuity over the years. I want to acknowledge the special work of Transport Canada and our global diplomatic network for pushing for reformed international rules to better protect civil aviation in future and to ensure credible investigations by truly independent authorities. And most of all, I want to thank the families. You are the impetus and the inspiration underpinning every step that has been taken and all the steps yet to come. You are the conscience that measures progress and the value of the outcomes. And you are the wellspring of that love for those who were lost, which is the motivator for everything that needs to be done. It is an honor to be associated with you. Thank you very much.
و به دست حکومت جمهوری اسلامی.
چهار سال پیش در چنین ساعتی در چنین نقطه‌ای عزیزان ما تکه تکه بودن، تکه‌هاشون از سر دیوار جمع می‌کردن و اموال 10 سال زندان برای اپراتور، برای 177 نفر تقصیر صادر کنید به ازای قتل 7 نفر 21 روز زندان. 41 نفر رو محاکمه نکردن از این مسئولین که ما بدانیم یک میدان ها چرا برای رسیدگی به راه‌های نجات زندگی
آن موقع نمی‌دانستم به اسم انتقام سخت عزیزان ما را قربانی می‌کنند، اما امسال من و همسرم را ممنوع الخروج کردند. از من چه برمی‌آید جز اینکه مسببین این فاجعه را نفرین کنم؟ از من چه برمی‌آید جز اینکه دنبال دادخواهی عزیزترین هایم باشم؟
حتی توی این پرونده نقش داشت، در پایمال کردن این نقش داشت تحقیق بازخورد شد مدیر کل حقوقی سازمان قضایی دیوان می‌کرد. دادمان که کیفرخواست رو صادر کرد و معاون سازمان بازخورد کشور و معاون رئیس قوه قضاییه
بخوانیم، دوباره بخوانیم تا کبوتران سپید به آشیانه خونین دوباره برگردند.
جنگجویانه و احترامجویانه نه نظری از ما پرسیده میشد و نه مخالفت ما اهمیتی داشت. انتقام سخت گرفته شد، اما از کی؟ از خود من و صدها هم نفس درد کشیده مظلوم و بی‌قرار دیگر درست مثل من نامش را خطای انسانی نامیدند، ولی جنایتی انسانی مرتکب شدند که دنیا را در دو
به بوسه آخر به روی پیشانی، شبی که حادثه صبح را نمی‌داند، قسم به گریه مادر، به خنده کودک، به لعنتی ابدی در دو آتش روشن.
در تاریخ 18 دی 1398 با ثابت کردن هواپیمای غیر نظامی و کشتن سرنشینان غیر نظامی آن در شرایط جنگی و پرتنش زمان برای ما متوقف شد. دلایل اقدام عمدی سیستماتیک و سازمان یافته برای سرنگون کردن هواپیما و قتل عام عزیزانمان شمارش پذیر نیست.
I now invite Kourosh Doustshenas, the spokesperson of the Association of Families of Flight PS752 victims, to come to the stage.
با سلام خدمت همدردان عزیزم. Remember me that I am one of many thousands who too sorry, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed. Remember me that I have died from injustice of tyranny. Remember me that I only carry toy dolls and books in my backpack. Remember me that I held wedding gifts in my luggage. Remember me that I was denied my right to life as power-hungry tyrants sought fresh victims in their game of war. Remember me that I merely yearn for my first day of school or classes in university. Remember me that I died in a mass murder by the hands of a regime whose only means of survival is terrorism and the crimes against humanity. Remember me that I have become a candle in the wind, a candle burning in the clinches of my family, who seeks nothing more than a light of justice in the darkness of a tyranny. A glimmer of light that shall brighten the path for justice. Right Honorable Prime Minister, esteemed Minister of the Crown, High Commissioner Goodell, Deputy Leader Lantsman, Your Worship, Mayor David West, esteemed elected officials, and the resilient families of the victims, I stand before you with a profound respect and a solemn acknowledgement of the gravity that brings us together today. I extend a heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support in our collective pursuit of truth and justice, providing solace and strength to these resilient families. The Association of Families of Flight PS752 victims is a unique example of civil society coming together for a common cause to accomplish a common goal. In 2023, the association's main objective was to ensure that the case of this criminal act is brought before an impartial international court. As my colleagues mentioned, our collective efforts and Canada's leadership led to the official filing of PS752 case before the International Court of Justice. Our common objectives required creating an organization to mobilize the community to dedicate their time, talents, and resources for a common cause. From the very first day, we were all aware of the difficulties that lay ahead. And we knew although there will be no justice for us, but our journey for justice will have a historic importance. Today, we represent the families of 138 victims of Flight PS752 from around the world, with the support of a larger family that includes countless volunteers who support our cause. We believe that seems to be impossible can be made possible. We know, witnessed how the blazing torch of the justice burns brighter than before. Our fight for truth and justice for the lost loved ones over the past few years has conjoined with a larger progressive movement in Iran. Scattered, broken branches connected with a common cause to create a towering tree of woman, life, freedom. Over the past year, we organized many rallies to mobilize the public. We stood in support of Iranian girls who endured chemical attacks in their schools. We organized a rally that became known around the world as the No to the Execution initiatives. With the blessing of Mahsa Jina Amini's family, we organized an anniversary memorial in her name that was followed by a marathon run event to help gather support for Iranian refugees who are stranded abroad. We dedicated our association organizational wherewithal to help echo the voices of the families of other victims of the Islamic regime inside Iran and around the world. Our association helped to forge a fresh and persistent civil action bonds for the rightful claim to justice for the people of Iran. We also held countless official meetings, supported the Canadian government's initiative to grant 176 university scholarships in the name of the victims. In 2021, the Canadian government responded to association activism by designating January 8 with the proclamation of National Day of Remembrance for victims of air disasters. On July 5th, we held a seminar with the lawyers and family members in order to discuss the various legal aspects of the PS752 case. Earlier today, Canada's leadership led to an important development by referring the PS752 case to the ICAO. This was an encouraging sign that our voice is not only heard, but also acted upon by our government in Canada. It is important for us that the public understand our position in this case. Financial compensation has never been and is not our objectives. We seek the truth, accountability, and justice, while we understand that the best way to achieve the most important objective is through an impartial court of law in a future free, democratic Iran. Remember me that I am one of the thousands. We too are one of the countless others. As we cried out since the beginning of our painful journey that our fight for justice is a collective fight of the entire nation. We remain true to our promise. We neither remained alone, nor did we leave other victims alone. And until the day when justice is served, we shall stand shoulder to shoulder with our people inside Iran. We shall never forget, nor shall we ever forgive. We echo the silenced voices of our loved ones. Thank you for being here today with us in this room and around the world, and for continuing to honor the memory of those lost. Thank you.
مسائل زیادی هست که دائم من به یاد نسلی میندازه. تو رأس اونها تابه های نقاشی که کشیده،
حتی اون چمدون‌ها که سحر داشت با خودش از ایران به اینجا می آورد، 2 کتاب بود که عنوان یکی از کتاب‌ها برای من راز بزرگیه.
هنوز رجا هست روی تراس پا پشت درخچه‌ای که تو حال هست، همیشه اونجا نشست درس.
گلای آپارتمانی منو خیلی یاد بچه ها میندازه. به یاد اونم گلا رو تکسی میمونه.
سعید کدخدازاده کاشانی 29. بهاره کرمی مقدم 33. رحیمه کاتبی 20. آزاده کاوه 40. فاطمه کازرانی 32. فروغ خادم 38. اولگا کوبوک 61. امیل لیندبرگ 7. اریک لیندبرگ 9. میکائیل لیندبرگ 40. راهله لیندبرگ 37. فیروزه مدنی 54. سیاوش
مقصودلو استرابادی 43 پریا مقصودلو استرابادی 15 فاطمه محمودی 30 قلنا ملاخوبا 38 مریم ملک 39 فرشته ملکی دیزجه 47 سارا ممانی 36 محمد جواد میانجی 27 محمد معینی 35 راستین مقدم 9
مهدی محمدی 20 هیوا مولانی 38 کردیا مولانی 1 امیر مرادی 21 آروین مرتب 35 سهیلا مشرف رضوی مقدم 55 دریا موسوی مفروعی 14 دورینا موسوی مفروعی 9 پدرام موسوی مفروعی 47 الناز نبیعی 30 فرزانه نادری 38 مهداد نقیب لاهوتی 44 زهرا نقیبی 32 میلاد نهاوندی 34 آرنیکا نیازی 8 آرسام نیازی 11 فرهاد نیکنام 44 علی رضا نوروزی 19 غزل نوریان 26 آلما اولادی 27 رجا امیدبخش 23 امیر حسین اویسی 41 اصل اویسی 6
I now invite our next speaker, Deputy Leader of His Majesty's Official Opposition and the Conservative Party of Canada, Ms. Melissa Lantsman.
Thank you very much for the welcome, Mr. Prime Minister, Ministers, Your Excellency, High Commissioner, Provincial Minister, and Mayor David. Thank you for having us. I'm here with my colleague, Anna Roberts from Vaughan, and to share with you that the downing of PS 752 will forever be marked in the memories of Canadians. 176 innocent souls callously and brutally murdered were mothers, were fathers, were sons, were daughters, were valued leaders, were cherished neighbors and friends. And they leave behind a void that can never be filled, no matter how much time passes. And I hope that the next time that we meet is in better circumstances, when we seek and achieve the justice that each and every family deserves. This evil act of murder, which of course claimed the lives of 55 Canadians, 30 permanent residents, underscored a truth that our country has known for a very long time. The IRGC is a terrorist group. And unfortunately, for 4 years, the IRGC has been given safe harbor in Canada. And to this day, 700 IRGC terrorists have been able to legally operate on our soil and live in luxury with the money that they stole from the Iranian people, and to intimidate your families. All of that must come to an end. And nobody has been more resolute in their calls for justice than all of you here today. In the days, months, and years since the attack, I have been deeply moved by the incredible resilience of this association, of the victims' families, and of the mothers particularly. You have heroically channeled the pain of your loss and worked to turn it into the hope of justice for every single one of your loved ones. Together, you have joined the world in fighting the tyrants alongside the woman life freedom movement, and the world cannot ignore that. Thousands murdered, imprisoned, beaten, and brutalized. And together, you have used your voices to repeatedly call on the Canadian government to do what should have been done 4 years ago: list the IRGC as a banned terrorist organization. We firmly stand beside you in this fight, and we will continue to demand that the government expel the 700 Iranian agents that are operating right here in Canada, meters from this place. And just like you said, Madam President, we will list the IRGC as a banned terrorist organization once and for all in this country for good. It won't end there, and it cannot end there. We will impose broad and sweeping sanctions to cripple the regime, to help Iranians bring home the freedom and democracy their people deserve. A free Iran once again, a free Iran for good, and a free Iran where justice will truly be served for every single one of your families. All of this requires not just words, and until that becomes a reality in Canada, we will not stop. And when change finally comes, we will do what the government has not had the courage to do. That is our promise to you. On behalf of the Conservative Party of Canada, our leader, Pierre Poilievre, my colleague, Anna Roberts, MP from King Vaughan, our heartfelt condolences go to you, to the families on this 4th anniversary. May you continue to honor them, and may we keep working together to bring the tyrants in Tehran to justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Leader. I now invite to the stage Her Excellency Yuliya Kovaliv, Ambassador of Ukraine to Canada. Please.
Honorable Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister Joly, members, ministers, members of the parliament, deputy leader of the opposition, dear families and dear guests. On behalf of Ukrainian government, I want to express my deepest condolences to all of the families of PS752 victims. It is my honor to stand before you, representing my home country, Ukraine, that early today, together with Canada, United Kingdom, and Sweden, made another effort within our pursuit to transparency and justice that all of us present here deserve. 4 years ago, the world was shocked by the brutality of Iran's using weapons against the civilian aircraft. Ukrainian International Airlines Flight 752 should be a routine flight from Tehran to Kyiv, but in fact, it turned out to be a tragedy. The international law clearly prohibits the states from using any kind of armament against civil aviation. Iran neglected this prohibition, killing 176 innocent people. 176 people who were returning home from holidays or business trips, expecting to see their beloved ones. Iran violently took away these expectations. That is why it is undoubtedly should be held accountable. Kourosh, members of association, I know just before the Russian brutal invasion you were in Kyiv. And when I arrived to Canada just after Russia started its illegal war, I promised you that despite all the horror of the war, Ukraine will be committed, together with Canada, UK and Sweden, to find this justice. And I want to thank you, Global Affairs, Minister Joly and your team, for leading this file, for putting all together the best legal experts and helping all of us to do this another important step so the justice should and shall prevail. And on this 4th anniversary, I would like also to take an opportunity to commemorate here all of my 11 compatriots, Ukrainians who were on this flight. These were our best pilots, our best flight attendants. And as multiple expert statements reported, all of them tried to make their all possible attempt to save the hit aircraft and people on board till the very last seconds of their lives. And as today, Iranian drones in Russian hands continue to kill innocent people in Ukraine. It is not our only the duty, but it's our moral obligation to hold Iran accountable for these crimes. Because now we, as never before, understand that each and every unpunished evil creates more evil. So while today our Ukrainian soldiers are courageously fighting on the front line for just the existence of us as the nation and Ukraine as a country, seeking justice for PS752 is one of the key priorities of our foreign policy. And it will remain till we held Iran accountable for this crime. Canada and Ukraine are more than the partners. We are friends as the countries. We have very strong people ties. In our history of our countries, there are very bright moments, but there is also this moment of grief and pain. And I do believe that we all, by putting all our best efforts to pursue this justice and to hold Iran accountable, will help also to make Ukrainian skies safe today. Thank you.
On September 16, 2022, the Islamic regime murdered a young girl whose name became synonymous with the woman, life, freedom movement in Iran. After the murder of Mahsa Jina Amini, her burial in the city of Sagias sparked massive protests throughout Iran. Many innocent citizens were killed within days of the outburst of protests in Kermanshah, Tehran, Alborz, Kurdistan, Sistan and Baluchistan, and Mazandaran. Many more innocent lives were lost. Minu Majidi, Nika, Serena, Ghazaleh, Hadis, Anani, and countless other victims fell to the brutality of the Islamic regime. Women around the world expressed their solidarity with the movement by cutting a part of their hair. The protest spread through universities across Iran. On what became known as the Bloody Friday in Zahedan, tens of lives were lost by brutal government crackdowns. In Kurdistan, 3 friends were murdered, one after another by regime agents during peaceful protests. On October 1st, 2022, over 50,000 Iranians attended a protest against the Islamic regime that was organized in Toronto, Canada, and inspired people in over 150 other cities around the world to join the movement. Citizens across the globe came together and chanted, along with a beautiful song that became an anthem for the movement, while Iranians were suffering brutal crackdowns on the streets, universities, schools, and even prisons. Vicious crackdowns on protesters in Evan, Laken and Rasht, Sharif University, and even the Medical Society at the Health Services Organization compounds around the country claimed more innocent victims. Crackdowns even spread to girls' schools with chemical attacks. Khamenei threatened protesters and unleashed more of his IRGC forces upon the citizens on the streets. Athletes who turned their back on the regime, such as Elnaz Rakabi, and others who refused to sing the regime's national anthem, were embraced by the people, and those, like the national soccer team who supported the regime, faced the people's protests. Another massive rally was organized in Berlin on October 22nd, where over 100,000 protesters from across Europe joined to express their solidarity with the people of Iran and protest against the Islamic regime. Public pressures contributed to the United Nations decision to organize a fact-finding committee to investigate the widespread atrocities in Iran. Burials and memorial ceremonies of the victims cast a shadow of grief around the country as the anniversary of yet another atrocious crackdown on peaceful protesters from the previous year approached. Javad Azadzadeh was among the most recent victims. Film actors and directors were persecuted. Many, such as Riyadi, Ghaziani, Ali Dusti, Tabassoli, Rasulullah, Hanahi, were arrested. The rap artist Tumej Salehi, who dedicated his art to the cause, was imprisoned and endured brutal abuse and torture. Indiscriminate firing upon civilians claimed many lives, such as Kia. The regime escalated its brutality with a summary execution of protesters, such as Mohsen Shakari, Majid Reza Ranabov, Karami, and Hussein, who were among the Isfahan protesters, and most recently, Navaz Ebrahim, fell victim to state-sanctioned murder. Further protests in Strasbourg, Brussels, and London erupted against the Islamic Revolutionary Guards. Yet this nefarious criminal organization is not listed as a terrorist organization by the European Union or Canada. Over the past 14 months, many unsuccessful efforts have been made to organize a unified opposition front against the Islamic regime, while Iranian grassroots and civil society are trying alternative means to create and strengthen civil organizations. Last September, on the anniversary of the murder of Massa, massive crackdowns by the IRGC's heavily armed military apparatus suppressed any movement inside Iran. Meanwhile, protests in Toronto and over 70 other cities around the world took to the streets to commemorate that day. The brave people of Zahedan continue to hold Friday protests, despite the regime's response with live bullets and brutal crackdowns. Armita Garavan, another young girl who defied the forced hijab laws, was brutally attacked and later died, a stark reminder of Massa's tragic fate. Her burial ceremony was stormed and disrupted by IRGC security forces. The regime couldn't even tolerate the popular rap artist Tumej Salehi. Only days after being released, he was brutally attacked on the street and sent back to prison. Narges Mohammadi was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize while still in prison and continued to suffer persecution and denied even her basic right to see her young children.
Woman, life, freedom.
Today, the Islamic regime continues to brutalize and murder the children of Iran, while the world is caught up in the ravages of war in the Middle East and Europe. But the regime's criminal acts and flagrant breach of the rule of law may not continue. Every day we witness the bravery of Iranians in the face of tyranny. Every day the image we see from Iran is one of protest, defiance, and resistance. A growing resistance movement that shall undoubtedly end the tyranny of the Islamic regime and lead to a bright future. The establishment of a democratic government by the people of Iran. Justice will prevail.
I now invite to the stage our next speaker, His Worship, Mayor David West, Mayor of Richmond Hill.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation to join you on this very solemn day of remembrance to honor the victims of this very senseless tragedy. Thank you to the families and loved ones of the victims of PS752 for having me here today. I've had the very distinct and very moving honor of being able to speak to so many of you today. And I just have to say, every story that I've heard reaches me in a way that I've never felt before. Every single story has something that we all share. It's a story about the people that we love the most, and that's common to all of us. So thank you very much for being here and for sharing that with us. I'd also like to give recognition to our esteemed guests from the federal government, Prime Minister Trudeau, Deputy Prime Minister and Ambassador, and elected officials and representatives from all levels of government, and thank you also to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Melissa Lantsman. Thank you. I also would like to give a shout out to the councillors from my colleagues, Councillor Carol Davidson, Councillor Scott Thompson, Councillor Castro Liu, Councillor Simon Tree, Councillor Karen Silovitz, and Councillor Michael Hsu. And I say that partially because I want to acknowledge them being here, thank you, but also to demonstrate that the City of Richmond Hill is very much there to support the families of this terrible tragedy. So thank you, colleagues, for being here today. And in fact, I think the representation from all levels of government here today demonstrates our commitment that we are working together and we are united in bearing witness to this heinous crime. Special thanks and the tireless efforts to the organizers of the Association of Families of Flight PS752 victims for your ongoing work. And I will have to say that this group has been there right from the very beginning. And I have no doubt from hearing about things today that they're going to be here right to the very end. So thank you to the organizers. 4 years ago today, PS752 was shot down and 176 souls were killed. Mothers, daughters, aunts, cousins, uncles, sons, fathers, fiancés, friends, and colleagues. Each one of them was treasured and loved, taken way too soon and robbed of their lives. One of the things that has struck me as mayor and the representative of this fine city was just how many of them were taken from my community, our community. 44 people of those were from the Richmond Hill area. They were our friends, they were our neighbors, and they were our colleagues. Today, we stand with you in your grief as we remember and celebrate their lives. While this was indeed a global tragedy felt around the world, it feels like a personal tragedy to all of us here in Richmond Hill. And I join you today, both in my official capacity as Mayor of Richmond Hill, but also as a resident, in feeling this great loss, offering my heartfelt support to my fellow citizens. And I want you to know that so many people that I talk to on a daily basis bear some of that grief. So I hope you will share it with us so that it's not all on your shoulders. Here in Richmond Hill, we are fortunate to have many strong, active, and engaged families of Iranian descent, and I'm thankful for this community of passionate, dedicated people who work hard every day to build our society and build an inclusive society like we have here in Richmond Hill. It's been my honor to strongly support the brave women and men of our community as they have rallied and demonstrated their strength, their conviction, their resilience, and their passion for freedom and justice and human rights. Although I cannot fully and on a personal level understand the extent of the grief that the mothers here today are suffering, I hope that in gathering today with our Richmond Hill community that our words and our presence and our support helps to soften your sadness and that we can carry some of your burden on this day of remembrance. We stand with you today and we stand with you every day. And I just want to say again, a heartfelt thank you for inviting us here today. It's a real honor to be able to have this event happen here in Richmond Hill, where so many of our friends and family have been lost. Thank you very much.
غمگینم چیزی که از اینها برام به جا مونده و هزاران ای کاش ها و ای کاش ها ای کاش اینها همه خواب.
اون کیف پول سوخته امیدم فکر این که برای که سر این کیف پول اومده سر برادر من، برادرزاده من و کسی که مثلا خواهرم بزنده همون حضورم که فکر
اون که اگر بود حالا قبل حال پیشرفت و ترقی در جهان فکر می‌زنید. یاد ندارم کاری را شروع کند و ناتمام رها کند. او همه امید و آرزوهای خانواده را محقق کرد. شادی و نشاط جای ناامیدی و غم اندوه را گرفته بود، ولی افسوس و هزاران افسوس.
راستش بخوای هر وقت توی جنگل راه میرم، جایی که درخت زیاد باشه راه میرم، چشمم همینطور دنبالش میچرخه، هم فکر میکنم لابلای این درخت ها قایم شده و داره منو میبینه.
من هر جا اثری از طبیعت، اثری از رقص و شادی و اثری از صلح و دوستی باشه قدمت میاد رو میچشم، چون از همین
ندیدنش موقعیت و زمان و مکان نداره. همه جا، همه چی، همه کس منو یادش میندازه.
فاطمه پسابند 17 عایشه پورقادری 36 منصور پورجم 53 ناصر پورشعبان اوشیبی 53 آرش پورزرابی 26 شهاب رعنا 36 هوگر رحیمی an unborn child جیوان رحیمی 3 رزدار رحیمی 38 نسیم رحمانی فر 25 نیلوفر رزاقی خمسی 45 حسین رضایی 20 مهدی رضایی 19 سبا سعادت 21 سارا سعادت 23 زین العابدین سعادت 29 کسرا ساعتی 47 البن صادقی 29 سهن صادقی 39 آنیسا صادقی 10 محمد مهدی صادقی 43 ندا صدیقی 50. نیلوفر صدر 61. سید نوجان صدر 11. امیر حسین سعیدی نیا 25. پگاه سفرپور 20. محمد حسین ساکت 33. محسن صلاحی 31. محمد صالح 32. ساجده سراییان 26. حمید رضا ستاره کوکب 31. شیدا شادخو 41. مسعود شاطرپور خیابان 31. پانیز سلطانی 29. سعید طهماسبی خادم اسدی 35. مهدی تاجیک 20. شهرام تاجیک 21. الینا تربای 31. عفیفا تربای 55. دریا توقیان 22. آراد زارعی 17. مایا زیبایی 15. سام زکایی 42. Thank you.
Dancing in the alleys and the streets for the thrill and the fear of getting caught kissing. For my sister, my brother, and humanity. For all the times we tried to change the minds and stay at peace. For the loss and pride, for poverty. For the dream of just a normal life. For you and me, for all the children who are starving for a loaf of bread. For the greed of politics and all the lies they spread, for all the
Thank you, Anna, for traveling so far and performing for us today despite being under the weather. It is a known saying among Persians and believed by many that after a loved one is buried, the grounds they are buried in help the survivors come to terms with their absence. Khak sard mikonad is what they say. Yet 4 years later, the depth of our despair and our agony for the 177 innocent lives is as unchanged as day one. This famous saying could not have proven to be any farther from the truth. Your presence at this memorial ceremony and your unwavering support keeps the families strong. I'd like to remind you, our elected officials, please do not allow their cause in pursuit of justice to be forgotten in the ebb and flow of international politics and power. And with this, we conclude today's program. Thank you all for being here.